I will take roll call. Members, when you hear your name, if you could kindly state aye for being present. Arabidian?
Here.
Osorio?
Here.
Mateki?
Here.
Chen?
Here.
Kim?
Here.
And Lee?
Here.
Mr. President, we have quorum, and we may proceed with the meeting.
Great, thank you, Mr. Rodan. And I'll just, we'll go to item number 2, which is my welcome. Welcome to the board members, staff, and public who are joining us here today, December 2nd, 2012. We started a couple minutes behind, but we're on schedule. It's a full meeting, and I look forward to the discussion and hearing everyone's thoughts. And good to be with everyone. So that's all I have for my remarks. I'm not sure if traditionally we open up my remarks for public comment, but I'm happy to do that.
This is the moderator. It's your call. Usually public comment is for when you have a motion and a second in front of you and you need a vote, or if there is an action being taken.
Yep, I am looking for our legal counsel. He usually has us open up for public comment on all these, but I think we're okay to move on to item number 3. That's fine. So why don't we move on?
All right, item number 3 is review and possible approval of the August 11th board meeting minutes. Members, you've had these items in the board materials. Are there any questions on the minutes captured? If there are no questions, would a member like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
No questions from me. So to Ben's prompt, does anyone want to move to approve?
I second.
Sorry,
we need a motion.
I didn't move.
Yes. Would you like the motion, Member Kim?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second. This is Yongping Chen.
We have a motion to approve by Member Kim and a second by Member Chen. Do we want to call for public comment?
This is the moderator. We are now opening for public comment. If you would like to make a comment, in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, please use the Q&A feature to type the word comment and send that comment to all participants. Dial-in users, please dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take about 15 seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. We have a request for public comment from David. Bear with us just a moment. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi. Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's an appropriate time to have some comments around reviewing ACOM's policies against Korean and Chinese practitioners. There's been a historic discrimination against qualifying Korean and Chinese for doctoral programs, and I just want to make sure there's an appropriate time to make that comment and ask for board action.
These kinds of items would be able to be brought up during public comments for items not on the agenda, as there is no item agendized to address any ACOM issues today.
Is it for new items at the end of the agenda?
Correct. This would be item.
This is
7.
the moderator. 7 and 8.
Great. So I'll hold my comments until then.
That's right.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other requests for public comment, shall we return to the agenda?
Please, yeah.
Members, I will be taking a roll call vote. The motion on the floor is to approve the August 11th meeting minutes. When you hear your name, please confirm with I to approve. Harabidian,
Aye.
Osorio,
Aye.
Mateki,
Aye.
Chen,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
and Lee.
Aye.
Motion passes. The minutes are approved and will be entered into the record. And we are ready to move on to item number 4, Mr. President.
Thank you. Let's proceed.
All right. For the budget update for the executive management report, if you would take a look at the budget documentations. These are fiscal month 3, and this is early on in the fiscal year, so these are still pretty much estimations. But for the moment, we are looking good with our fund. And any questions from the board members? Not too much details to go over here, but more will clarify as we move through the fiscal year.
Any questions on the budget? If not, then we can move on.
Thank you. For the staffing update, we continue to face some challenges with addressing our vacancies. We have filled a vacancy in the enforcement analyst position, as well as the vacancy in the administrative analyst position. However, the administrative analyst position was a lateral from within our office, and so we now have an enforcement position open up again. And so we are advertising for that, and hopefully we'll get that filled in the next few months. Additionally, our licensing office technician position has now been vacant, and we are beginning the advertising process on that as well. Any questions from the board members on the staffing? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Mr. Hurt for the business modernization update.
Thank you, Mr. Bodea. So for the business modernization update, the board continues to work with the DCA's Office of Information Services in Lumen, the software vendor, and dedicated board staff to continue to develop and refine the Connect licensing enforcement management system. The initial phase of the project completed on June 8th, 22. There was a minor release following that period, and then the project immediately went into maintenance and operation and continuous integration, continuous development on June 9th, 2022, and we'll continue to do sprints of 2 to 4 weeks of software development for the near future. The office, the BMC1 cohort that we're a part of, along with the Office of Information Services, see that we'll continue this process for a number of additional years. And there's been in terms of the continuous development, the 2022-23 BCP has already been approved by DOF. We're waiting to hear back from the DCA, but that's been completed. So we will have funding for this additional development. A little bit more into the weeds, the board has continued to refine exam license renewal and wall license renewal processes, including onboarding a new print vendor that allows for automated printing of our pocket and wall licenses. We were without that for a while, so there was a fair amount of scramble of in-office printing, so that's a big relief. Recent efforts resulted in a limited release of our continuing education management system, where providers can apply for new or renewal applications and also for courses online. We are currently focusing on a number of fixes that have been identified by the users and staff that will enhance access and functionality. And the target is to have those final refinements done to the that portal in early January. And then the board will just continue to move on and refining. And that's the business modernization update for today. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Hurt. Any questions from the board members on our business mod progress? Hearing none.
This is Kim. Is there more traffic than last year for this services on the website?
Yeah, I can address that. We were estimating that for our licensees, we're getting about a 70% use rate in terms of their renewals. So that's been considered to be really, really good numbers. So we're happy with that. And also with our wall licenses, if you remember the way the wall license requirement went, as of 1/1/21, licensees were required to apply and pay for a wall license in their next renewal cycle after that date. And so now we've gone through that 2-year cycle. So everybody has been through that. So so all the users should have, all the licensees over the last 2 years should be, had to go through a renewal cycle and been exposed to these services. So we're happy with the usage. I mean, we definitely need to keep working on some access issues and refinements, and which is typical for this kind of a project. So.
Great job. And I have one more question. I remember you've been working on the plastic license instead of in paper last year. Is there any progress on that?
This is a separate item from the business modernization update, and it is one of our strategic plan items. We have not made progress on the plastic cards for this year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board members regarding the business modernization update? Hearing none, let's go ahead and move on to the Q1 licensing report, also presented by Mr. Hurt. Thank you, Mr. Hurt.
Thank you, Ben. So to start off, I just want to let board members and the public know that the first two numbers in the Q1, the clear and active numbers, we saw those being too high, and then we have revisited those numbers. So I have the appropriate numbers right now. So and we will update this in our meeting material so that those will be reflected. So when you hear my numbers for the first two items in the list, they're going to be different from what you have in your meeting materials, but the ones I'm going to report are the true numbers. So for licensing statistics for 22-23 in Q1, which is July through September, clear licenses, which are licenses that can be renewed in some fashion by a renewal process, was 11,803. Of those, there were 7,753 active licenses, 2,380 inactive licenses, and 1,670 delinquent licenses, 70 canceled licenses. For new initial license applications, these are people that have passed and qualified and passed for the test. There was 77 in that quarter, which is kind of typical for the last number of quarters. Of those applications, there were no applications that are denied. For license renewals in the first quarter, we had 1,576. And then moving on to wall licenses, the total active wall licenses now are 3,438, which is lagging behind what we'd expect. So we're going to do some outreach to improve the compliance with that number. And then in this quarter, there was 485 initial licenses. And you can kind of see the discrepancy there with 1,500 license renewals and only 485 wall licenses. People are going to be needing to get on board with their wall license compliance. And then wall license renewals were 65. And even though that's a 2-year requirement, the reason for that is that our initial licensees are given a prorated period, and they get one wall license in that, but that's a period anywhere from 13 to 23 months. And so those initial licenses would have hit a renewal period within this fiscal year. So that's the licensing part of it. Moving on to continuing education. In the first quarter, we received 5 new applications for CE providers. None of those applications were denied. There was 564 course applications received. Of those applications received, 532 were approved. There was 32 course denials. And then I don't know what's missing there. There's a blurb in my, oh wait, let's see. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. So the number of continuing education providers are 344. And then moving on to our acupuncture educational and training programs. Applications for board approval of curriculum, we received 5. Those are all in the process of being reviewed by our education coordinator. None were incomplete or reported incomplete as of today, and none were improved, and no institutions lost approval during the first quarter. In terms of the acupuncture tutorial training programs, in the first quarter, we received 4 new applications. There was 4 new program approvals, 3 programs completed, and there was 3 terminated or abandoned tutorial programs. And currently, right now, we have 51 total active tutorial programs, which is kind of slowly been increasing as we move along. So. And then moving on to our exam results for the period of 1/1/2022 to 6/30/2022. And just referring to the report, I'll just go to the aggregates. For first-time test takers, the pass rate that we received for the KL in this quarter was 71, or this half-year period was 71%. And then the aggregate, which includes first-time and retakers, was 63%. And so according to our exam developer, those are really, really good numbers. We're just coming in exactly where they should be. So it shows that our items are performing correctly. And then moving on to exam results by language, test takers that took the test in Chinese scored at 59%, test takers in English 64%, and test takers in Korean at 65%. And those numbers are all coming in very, very close to each other. So it's showing a nice agreement between the different test formats. And so our grand total pass rate by language was 63% overall. And that concludes my licensing report.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Hurt. Questions on the licensing report for quarter 1?
Not for me. Board members?
All right.
I think we can move on.
Can you... Okay. Sorry, I lost connection there for a second. Moving on to the enforcement report. We have the data for quarter 1 of July 1st through September 30th. Brief covering here. Unprofessional conduct complaints received was 11. 0 for unregistered or unlicensed. 2 came in under convictions for applicants or charges. 1 sexual misconduct. 2 fraud. 3 non-jurisdictional. 5 for incompetence and negligence. 1 for unsafe or unsanitary conditions. 3 for other. For a total of 28 complaints received in the last quarter. And then for investigations, we have a total of 28 initiated, 260 pending, and 6 were closed in the last quarter. Any questions on the first 2 pages so far? We can come back. So, second set of data. Oh, do I hear a question?
Yes, this is a member Mateki. I
Please.
know there is a use of a title doctor. I think it's really a little bit confusing, and that's not only the profession of acupuncture, and currently there are other professions was brought up also, like a nurse practitioner. At least I saw there's a cases like that. So I think maybe there's some types the education or explanation either from the education or from the board. I think some of the time the licensees may be a little bit confused. Is it possible elaborate somewhere, the use title of a doctor can be more descriptive and not get in trouble for the licensees.
Yeah, and keep in mind what we're looking at right now is just complaints received. This isn't actions carried out and confirmed. But we can definitely look at creating outreach material to inform our licensee population of any misunderstanding here, and we definitely encourage the associations to reach out to their member organizations to ensure that they are using the title appropriately when they practice.
Thank you.
This might be an excellent item for the strategic plan, which will need to be redone next year, and for an outreach effort as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Good. Moving on to the second portion, performance measure 1, volume of convictions and arrests received. Total received is 28. Average intake for Q1 was 3 days. Investigation cycles, all investigations closed was 6, with the average cycle time at 36 days. Of the 6 that closed, they closed in under 90 days, with no citations issued. Moving on to performance measure 4, cycle time to discipline. 1 item closed, but had, as you can see, quite a long time. That was with the Attorney General's office. So although our target is 540 days, this one took 1,748, and these are our more complicated cases that we kind of see creeping up, getting closed. And so hopefully our times will start decreasing as we close these bigger cases. Then you see the details for AG cases pending at 18, 2 accusations filed, and 1 closed after transmission, with 2 voluntary surrenders happening in the first quarter and 1 closed without disciplinary action. And then you'll see that the 1,700 day case that closed was the one that we see here, aged over 3 years, for the second to last table. And for other legal actions, no PC-23s or interim suspensions were conducted in Q1. Any questions from the board members on the second portion or any of the enforcement report presented so far?
Not for me. Board members?
This is Member Kim. So the complaint number it's been is decreasing, and also the case number also is kind of the same or decreasing since the pandemic.
We don't have, it's kind of hard to, since the pandemic, yes, there's definitely been a decrease in the number of cases, both received, closed and received in terms of complaints. But in terms of like things reopening, we'll have to keep looking. And right now we only can really compare the full last year in its entirety to the first quarter based on this chart. But we can take a look at more longitudinal data, for example, in the performance measures in the sunset report, or we can come back and review that with previous reports shared here at the board meetings. But generally, they've been pretty low during the shelter-in-place procedures, and we may see an increase now that clinics and facilities are opening up again.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing no other questions, I believe that wraps up for the enforcement report, Mr. President.
Thank you. And we don't need any sort of vote or approval on this, do we?
Not at all. We can open it up for public comment, however.
Let's do that. Thank you.
For all items in the executive management report.
This is the moderator. We are now open for agenda item 4. If you would like to make a comment, please type the word comment into the Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner of the screen and send that comment to all participants. Dial-in users, please dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take about 15 seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Commenters will be given about 2 minutes to speak, or will be given exactly 2 minutes to speak, and a 30-second warning. Seeing no request for comment, do you wish to return to the agenda?
Yes, thank you. We can move on to item number 5.
Certainly. For the legislative report, members of the board and the public, you'll note on the agenda that we had all the items that we were tracking before. In the report, we've only included the items that have passed or been chaptered. And so we have a total of 3 bills of the list that you see before you, of the 10 that actually got chaptered. So I'll go ahead and turn to the report. First one being Senate Bill 731 was chaptered. This is criminal records relief. This was introduced back in 2021 and carried over. And then for the 2022 session, the 2 bills that were chaptered are the Assembly Bill 1604, the Upward Mobility Act of 2022. The board did not take a position on this. And Senate Bill 189 for state government. This is what allows us to continue doing the remote meetings as we are today. And that was chaptered on 6/30 of 2022, which allowed us to do the August meeting remotely as well. Any questions from the board members on the legislative report? Hearing none, we can go ahead and open it up to public comment.
Great,
This
thank
is
you.
the moderator. Oh, my apologies. Go ahead, please.
Nope, go ahead. Thank you.
All right. We are open for public comment on agenda item 5. If you would like to make a comment, please type the word comment into the Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner of the screen and send that comment to all participants. Dial-in users, please dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to return to the agenda?
Yes, please.
Thank you. That addresses the legislative report. We now have, for agenda item number 6, it's the review and possible approval of the 2022 Sunset Report. Thank you to the ad hoc committee members, Harbidin and Mateki, for doing the initial review of the document, as well as the full board members for returning to it so quickly. It was quite an extensive report. And what we can do here is we can just go through each section. It would be too much to go through each question and just call out if you have any questions or comments on any of the items within each question. I think that would be the best use of our time. Mr. President, would that be all right with you?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the right way to go. So let's do it that way.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and dive right in then. For section 1, this is just the background and description of what we do. Was there any questions from the board members on the structure of our board or our attendance, anything of that sort? Not hearing anything, so I'll go ahead and move to section 2. And board members, just if for some reason we pass through the section and you weren't able to activate your microphone in time, just chime in afterwards and we can come back to it.
And I think the only thing on this section is I think some of the appointment dates seem to be off, but minor issues that we just want to double check on the dates. Like I
Okay.
think for I forget who I saw, but we can just double check that.
Certainly. Let me go ahead and make this note. So that way when if we make a motion to approve the report as is with the edits directed of staff, we can include that. So this would be for table 1B, board and committee member roster, with the date first appointed and reappointed. Is this what you're referring to, Mr.?
Yeah, they might be right. And so I just think double check, maybe they're all right.
Okay.
I noticed some dates and I just wasn't sure if those were the right ones, but yeah, just to note.
Certainly. We'll double check even table 1A as well, just because there are appointment dates on those for the individualized ones as well. So we'll have those double checked. Thank you.
This is Yongping Chair. I did see the same thing. A couple of the dates of the appointment. seems a little off. So the first for John Halabidia, date appointed was December 22, 2017. I think it's a typo. 1-2 is for the year. 1-2 is extra. So some other like 2022 is above 2029. So it's just typo. I did notice that too as well. Thank you.
Member Chen, are you referring to table 1B? Or are you referring to the individual
Table 1A,
1A? Okay, let me just double check so I can.
table the page 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
All have the same. I think it's just a typo.
We will double check those dates. And keep in mind, this is the date that we get the notification from the appointing authority that a member has been appointed. But we will definitely double check these dates. Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly. Any other members? More questions or comments? Okay. Section 2, performance measures and customer satisfaction surveys. This section is just 2 questions technically, but it is got extensive number of edits. Our performance measures for enforcement, which is in section 13. And then you'll note for question number 7, the customer satisfaction surveys, we did not receive any of these surveys for the bulleted quarters you see listed there. Any questions on section 2? Hearing none. Moving to section.
Sorry, Ben, I had just one note, and I'm just trying to find it really quickly. I think it's on page 13 of 73, which I think is in this. Sorry, I just want to make sure it's in this.
Section 1?
Yeah. Oh, that's still in, sorry, section 1.
No problem.
Yeah, we had noted that the board did not sponsor any legislation since the last sunset review. Is the board, and I just had a question on that. Obviously, I think since I've been a board member, we haven't sponsored any legislation. Is that something the board did in the past? It was just a question I had.
Yeah, it's something that boards can do. And I'm not quite sure when the last time we sponsored something. There was a little bit of work done with the wall license done together, but yeah, there was, I'm not quite sure when the last time was. We can look into that, but not for this term around. Not for this report that we're aware of.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Certainly. So let's see, just to double check, that's a no questions or comments on section 2. Okay. Moving on to section number 3, fiscal and staff. Any questions on the data provided here? Questions 9 through 17. Hearing none. Move on to section 4. This is for the licensing program. Bigger section. And we're reviewing all the licensing data. And some discussion on BizMod as well. Any questions or comments from the board members in regards to the licensing data presented in the report? Hearing none. Move on to section 5.
Executive Officer
Please.
Bodie. Sorry, Ryan Marcroft
Yes.
here. Was this the appropriate time for me to chime in?
Yeah.
Board members, good morning. Sorry I wasn't jumping in a little bit earlier. This is Ryan Marcroft with Legal Affairs. I had one suggestion for you to consider. Page 28 of the report. Question number 21. There's a statement toward the tail end of that's kind of an interpretation of a statute. I'm not sure that is necessary for the report. I gather by what the statement says that the board has not denied any licenses based on prior discipline in the last sunset report quarter or period. So I might propose just to strike that. starting at based on BPC 480E and then running through the end of the response. I might propose to strike that and just replace it with a sentence that reads, the board has not denied a license based on a failure to disclose prior discipline. I think that's factually accurate, and it keeps us out of putting statutory interpretations in this public record. So that's what I would probably suggest if the board is inclined to do that.
Thank you for that. Can you just pinpoint, Ryan, where exactly are you looking at the document? What page?
Page 28
Page-
of 73.
Under question 21, this is referring to the last sentence before the quote of the code. And Mr. Marcroft, if you could kindly repeat the sentence you're suggesting we replace it with. The board has not denied a license.
The board has not denied a license based on a failure to disclose prior discipline. I think that's essentially what we're saying
Yes.
already, and is factually accurate, but it kind of avoids us providing legal interpretations in this public report that then could be brought up down the road, against the board. So I might just say that factual statement and kind of leave it at that.
Members, I think this is appropriate here. We don't need to be waxing on about our statutes.
That's fine. I guess the only question has been, and I'm fine with that, subject to other board members. I mean, is this something that you need? That seems like a pretty minor change. Is this something that you need to make is this a material change to where it'd have to come back to the board to finalize, or could we finalize that language here today?
This can be finalized here right now, which is why I asked for clarification on that sentence. And if what we can do is just do kind of like an informal poll. Board members, if you have a problem or a challenge or a question about this change, please say something now. Otherwise, we will include this as an edit to include in the report. Will that work, Mr. Marcroft?
I completely agree. We can do sort of a poll now, and then at the tail end, our motion can incorporate sort of the edits we've discussed here today.
Okay. Let's go to a quick informal poll. Members, if you have a problem with this, please let us know right now. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and include this as a tentative edit. And Mr. Marcroft, I'm going to then delete, starting with based on BPC 480, and move through the quoted section to the end of 21A. Is that appropriate?
That sounds exactly right. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. And I have included that edit here. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Marcroft. We are in section 4. We received one edit regarding from legal counsel that the board is in support. Any other questions or comments from the board members in section 4 for licensing? Hearing none, we can go ahead and move on. Let's see, section 5 starts on page 38. This is the enforcement program. We're going through questions 33 through 50 something. Members, please chime in if you have any questions. Through 51. Any questions on enforcement or comments on the enforcement section? Hearing none, move on to section 6, public information policies. Questions 52 through 57. Any questions on our responses here? Hearing none. Section 7, online practice issues. This was one question. Any questions or comments here? Hearing none. We'll go to section 8, workforce development and job creation. Not much that the board participates in here. but we do have some data. Any questions from the board members or comments? Okay. Section 8, no question and comments. Moving to section 9, current issues. This is starting on page 54. Any questions or comments from board members on section 9?
Only one,
Hearing-
one question for
Please.
me, Ben. Was
Yeah.
the current, the questions in the, under current issues, those were established by the legislature or the governor's office? And what, these aren't current issues that we have identified, correct? Like question 64,
Correct.
65, okay.
Yeah, this was established by the joint committees on business and professions, and these are their inquiries. Mhm.
Got it. Okay.
Hearing no other questions or comments on section 9, we can move on to section 10. Board action and responses to COVID-19. Any questions or comments there?
Oh, apologize, Executive Officer Bodia, Ryan Marcroft here.
Yeah.
Section 10. One other, the only other edit, like I said, I thought the report was excellent. The only other edit that I might propose for the board's consideration is question, apologize, I'm coming up with the question here, 69, which is on page 5.6.
Uh-huh.
This is about the board's request for a waiver of COVID waiver consistent with the ACOM accreditation waiver. And the current response just above the number 70 there said the board did not receive a response to its request. I might propose just restyling that a little bit along the lines of the request was not approved, but the board believes that the matter can be appropriately handled through enforcement of curriculum requirements.
Thank you, Mr. Marcroft. Board members, how do you feel about this suggested edit? It is appropriate. The request was not approved, and we did develop pathways to allow for the continued functioning of the schools based on ACOM's waiver.
This is Member Kim. I totally agree with him. Yeah, him.
With Mr. Marcroft's edits, okay. The request was not approved, and the board.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too. Dr. Mateki, I just want to make sure you're on board with that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Any other members have any questions or comments about this edit?
Yeah, this is Yongping Chen. I agree.
Okay. Mr. Lee, Dr. Lee or Dr. Kim, are you both okay with this since we're getting everybody to acknowledge it? Mr. Osorio?
I'm okay with it. It's Shudong Lee.
Thank you.
Yes, I do agree with it.
Okay. All right. I think that was everybody. Mr. Kim, you mentioned earlier you were okay, right? So let's go ahead and Mr. Marcroft, if you could read that back to me one more time just so I can conclude it and we can have it for the record.
Of
The
course.
request was not approved.
Of course. So we'd be striking the final sentence in response 69, and then in exchange, replacing it with the request was not approved, comma, but the board believes that the matter can be appropriately handled through enforcement of curriculum requirements, period.
But the board believes that the matter can be
Appropriately handled
through. Go ahead.
Through enforcement of curriculum requirements. Apologize, I read that pretty quickly.
No problem. And thank you. And I'm just going to read it back for the record. The request was not approved, but the board believes that the matter can be appropriately handled through enforcement of curriculum requirements. And that was after striking. The board did not receive a response. Thank you, everybody. We have amended section 10 to include that. And any further questions or comments on section 10? Okay. Section 11 is one of our longest sections, and this is because there was a number of issues in the previous background paper, and you'll note a number of these have been resolved, but this is a high content area. So board members, any questions or comments on section 11?
No, I have no questions. I mean, it's just really well done on all of these responses, but this section in particular, just to really level out and respond to kind of what has been perceived as historical issues of the board. And so I think this section is really good. I think it's really thorough. So well done on that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Go ahead and leave it open for just a little bit longer for any other board members that have any questions or comments. Okay, hearing none.
This is
Please.
Member Mateki. I agree with the President Harbidin said, yeah, this section was well done and detailed. So I agree. Thank you, staff.
Thank you, Member Mateki.
This is Member Yongping Chen. So I agree both the committee members for the sunset review. This is very good, well done section. But I saw a lot of not completed items. So I think probably related with the pandemic for 3 years. And I just hope the item uncompleted will be presented in the next the strategic plan 2003 to 2017. So I'd like to see the uncompleted item will be included in that strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Chen. Indeed, we're going to be looking at our new strategic plan development in the first and second quarter of next year. Hopefully, as soon as the sunset report is done, and we'll be able to address the board's goals for the next 5 years, and definitely continue the work on any items that we weren't able to accomplish this time around.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla, for your answer.
Certainly. All right, we can go on to section 12, new issues. This one was a bit of a challenge. We wanted to provide something for the board in case there was something. And we did feel that, staff did feel there was one item that could be provided here should the board be in agreement about it. And that would be for question 2 of the new issues identified by the board in this report. And this is regarding the term Asian massage. The board did hear some presentations on this matter and has received inquiries on this matter where manual Asian massage is definitely within the scope of manual therapy. So we wanted to just provide this as an example of one thing that the board had agreed upon in the last few years on what was being heard. Any questions or comments from the board members on this item?
Yeah, I think it's I'm glad it's in there in the definition of acupuncture at the beginning of the sunset review report. You know, we actually include Asian massage because I think technically it's still part of the definition. So while we have this at the back end, we also have at the front end Asian massage, you know, included. So
Indeed.
I guess the question is, just going forward, and this is a little bit beyond the sunset report, but I guess it's applicable. You know, is there? I think that the response has been to the constituents who have brought this up that really this is a legislative or the fix really has to do with definitions regarding the code, which we don't really have any authority over. We can recommend, but at this
Right.
point, Ben, is there some sort of recommendation that we are giving as to how to approach this?
At this point, it's just that this we're informing the legislature that this has been an issue that does keep coming up, and that this is an equivalency that we've seen in the practice in terms of the term, and may help clarify. Originally, Asian massage was introduced to replace the term Oriental massage, and so it was trying to address a previous word definition change, and so in the same way, it seems that Asian massage has taken on the ambiguity of what it was supposed to refer to, which was just manual therapy practices as brought in through the acupuncture practice. But manual therapy is manual therapy. So ultimately, we're just trying to show that we see this as equivalent in terms of the curriculum. And should there be, support for the legislature to clarify this in scope, because as you've noted correctly, this is a legislative item that would need to be inserted in a bill here, possibly in our sunset bill, to clarify Asian massage as just manual therapy in terms of the term. But if the board approves this, then this is an agreement that the board is on the same page with this. If there is any question on the board member's part, or non-agreement on this, then we can remove it.
No, I would keep it in. I think that makes sense. Thank you.
Certainly.
That's yeah.
Please.
Member Mataki. May I?
Yes. Please.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm glad we put it here, and I know for the last few years, this is being brought up, and I totally agree. I'm glad that the board want to discuss and move forward. So my question is here. So in the past, how did the Oriental massage was changed, right? Another part is in the ICD code, in the billing part, there isn't, Asian massage, and it is part of the manual therapy. So my question is here is how can you still include, massage that word? Because I'm afraid if you totally move to manual therapy, and then in the future, the acupuncturist practice, I know they still doing massage. So how the way, or tuina, there are certain terms. How can you include it? Because this is manual therapy, but it is a massage. So that's just my part. I want to see how in the next step, if we're going to move forward, make sure not to change it to manual therapy, and then the acupuncturist can do tuina or massage. So that's just one part I would like to see. And there is ICD code for manual therapy. So I don't think you need to make a special, effort on that. So that's just, I wanted to see, and I totally agree. The board want to take this issue. Thank you.
So Dr. Mateki, do you want to make any changes to this at all based on that, or are you okay with the way it is?
I would like the board to work on this.
I mean, what we can do here to address your concern, Member Mateki, and instead of just that last sentence, stakeholders have requested the board seek to change the term Asian massage in the scope to manual therapy, we could use it to be in scope to massage and manual therapy, as opposed to Asian massage.
Yeah, I think that might be more inclusive. Maybe the board can work with the stakeholder on that. I just want to bring that in, make sure next step, don't recognize, like a tweener massage, totally change to manual therapy. That's, I think maybe the board can work with the stakeholder on that. How would you guys, other board member, if you guys are okay with just manual therapy, I'm totally okay with it. But I just want to make sure the massage get taken out, or tweener could we have maybe the legal can help here. Oh, President.
Yeah,
what do you think?
my
Yeah.
staff's intent here was not to limit, not to request that the legislature limit the board, the licensee's scope here, simply to identify that this has been coming up from our stakeholders, and to answer the earlier question, the change from Oriental was to remove that term from a number of references within our laws. I think it was even outside of acupuncture, but primarily within the acupuncture scope, wherever possible. But yeah, back to your point, Member Mateki, this isn't to limit. We don't want to limit, just to clarify.
Yes, yeah, I'm totally fine with the current, but I just see if how the board did with the Oriental, if we can just, through this report, if we can make it a more clarification in the future for the licensees or the stakeholders, don't have those questions. And also it will definitely help for the billing purpose. I'm okay with the current, but I just want to make sure this is not get excluded the next step.
This is Member Kim. Since I've been working with physical therapists last several months, and I noticed, I took a look at what they're referring to, those books they are reading or any references, and I don't know whether the current acupuncture program teaches actual manual therapy, which is same, coincide with their material. So maybe the outcome is similar, but when we can, we can say manual therapy, maybe sometimes we don't know what exactly manual therapy is. Maybe not, maybe is, but it's just something that we can work more on this, so that we can be more specific and modernize the term, rather than just Asian massage therapy.
Yeah, why don't we then make the change that, thank you, Francisco, that Dr. Mateki proposes, just to include manual therapy. And then it sounds like this is something for the next agenda item, for items not on the agenda, for maybe future agenda items. For obviously, we need a longer, more specific conversation about this issue and decide what the board wants to do. So I would propose making the change that Dr. Mateki proposes, and then in the next agenda item, we can talk about putting this on a future agenda.
This is Member Yongping Chen. So the purpose of changing the treatment modality name is for consumer to better understand this modality, not confusing consumer and patients. So for that purpose, I think has the change Asian massage to manual therapy has its positive point. So I basically agree, but I also agree, Dr. Mataki said, so we want to prevent any inadvantage to for the patient not understand a disadvantage of not understand what is manual therapy. So I reviewed what is manual therapy for the insurance claim purpose. The manual therapy actually described as CPT code 97140 says manual therapy techniques, one or more regions, each 15 minutes, and including is further described as mobilization, manipulation, manual lymphatic drainage, manual traction. So obviously Asian massage is not there and Pena is not there. So that brings to a question, should we further identify or little explanation? I saw somewhere in the statute or regulation, after the follow the Asian massage, there was a description of Pena or slash shiatsu. So it's possible to somewhere have have language to further identify the acupuncturists doing manual therapy is little more specific or include that. So.
And board members, Ryan Marcroft here, just to provide a little bit of context in case it's helpful. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is a desire to maybe amend state law, or at least to start talking about amending state law, which is something that this sunset report might prompt. Is once we submit this to the legislature, that might prompt discussions about whether it makes sense to amend state law. But I'm also hearing that presently, as Executive Officer Bodia said, it only refers we're saying that stakeholders have only brought to our attention this question about manual therapy, but maybe we should broaden that to be both manual therapy and massage. So at least when we inform the legislature about what issues we're hearing, we're being more inclusive. So what I might propose is what Executive Officer Bodia did earlier, which is amending the response to question 2, the final sentence, so that the last 2 words is changed to manual therapy and massage. But so that would be all we would be doing here today. But maybe in the items not on the agenda or future agenda items, we can put on an agenda item where we discuss this more fully and whether or not we would want to have a change in state law. And so that would be a little bit of a next step type of a discussion. So I might propose that to the board members if that seems to address the discussion that I'm hearing.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Microphone. This is Member Mateki. Hi.
My pleasure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And also, Mr. Bodia, I don't want to make this as like a delayed the process. So I would go with the legal recommendation here. And I do not want to hold this report either. So whichever we can do to make it work. Okay. So thank you for all members' discussion.
Certainly, Member Mateki. And we were very careful to not say that the board is requesting this change. We're noting that stakeholders have requested this change and that this discussion may be happening at the legislative level among greater number of people. And I'm happy to hear that by adding add massage, it can clarify that as well, or to addressing both legal concerns and board members' concerns.
Thank you.
Would I've heard from President Harabidian and from Member Mateki in regards to the amendment as provided by myself and legal counsel, which is to add and massage to the end of the last sentence to now read manual therapy and massage. Do the other board members, are they okay? Are you okay with this change?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. This is Member Kim.
Thank you, Member Kim. Member Chen, you had some items to add on this. Would this be an amenable edit?
I'm okay. with manual therapy and the massage.
Perfect. Thank you. Vice President Osorio, are you okay with this change?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Dr. Lee?
Yeah, I'm okay with the changes. Thank you.
I think that's everybody. Am I forgetting somebody? Okay. So that concludes section 12 on new issues. The last section is section 13, and this has all of our attachments. You'll note that we've included the administrative manual, our org charts, the major studies we've completed in the last few years, being the fee study and the occupational analysis, org charts for the last 5 years, and as well as our strategic plan and our enforcement performance measures and survey responses. I have the following edits noted from our review. In section 4, we have included the edit from legal counsel Marcroft in regards to the BPC section, striking the comment on the BPC section and just addressing what we've done. As well in section 10, in regards to striking the board did not receive a response, to the board has developed additional ways to ensure that they can enforce the curriculum. And as well as in section 11, we have added, I'm sorry, section 12, we have added the and massage to the end of the last sentence. Our board members, this is a summary of all the items we've had so far. What we can do now is entertain a motion to approve the report with the edits as directed by the members, and then open it up for public comment. Does that sound amenable to you, Mr. President?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Do we have a motion from any of the members?
Dr.
This is
Mateki, do you
Kim.
want to make the motion?
This is Member Kim. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Sunset Review Report as recommended by, including the addition on recommended by the staff.
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Mateki. I have a motion by Member Kim to approve the Sunset Report for submission to the legislature, including the edits provided by staff to section 4, section 10, and section 12, as well as to double check section 1 on the appointment dates. And a second by Dr. Mateki. Let's go ahead and open the report up to public comment.
We are now open for public comment via WebEx. If you would like to make a comment, please type the word comment into the Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner of the screen and send that comment to all participants. Dial-in users, please dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds now to see if we have requests for public comment. And it looks like we have a request from Chulong Zhu. Give us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
My name is Chulong Shui from the American Association of Chinese Medicine and Acupuncture, AACMA. For the Sunset Review, I want to thank you, the board, for keeping up the good work since the last Sunset Review. Here I want to mention two things. First of all, again, I want to thank you for accepting our request to clarify the language about Asian massage and breathing exercise in the acupuncture aid through the sunset review process. And I just heard the Asian massage part, the manual part was mentioned, but I didn't hear the breathing exercise. That is actually is a kind of therapeutic exercise that looks like we believe also need to be clarified in the act. I wonder that part also was in the report. That's the one thing. And also the second, for the competency of the practitioners and protection of consumers. A lot of our associations and schools and also the practitioners in California were talking about elevating our education curriculums to doctor level in California. We know
30
currently,
seconds.
yeah, I know currently the board has been undergoing a curriculum review. We hope the board can take this in consideration by trying to have our curriculums align with the first professional doctor degree, which accredited by ACOM. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next request comes from Philip Yang. Hold on just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone. All right, we've sent you a request to unmute your microphone. All right, Philip Yang, we're going to send you another request to unmute your microphone.
Yeah,
And we
this is
see,
Philip Yang from California University, Silicon Valley. I have mentioned about the title of the practitioners. We in California we have different professionals like MD, DC, ND, OD, and JD, and something. They have a clear title. We acupuncturists we should have a clear title, unified in whole California. And right now there are many different titles. Of course, we need the qualification. Who is qualified to be a title? Like we should be a doctor similar like a DC, MD, or something like that, like a DA, like Doctor of Acupuncture, or DAH, or Doctor of Acupuncture Herbal Medicine, something like that. Very, very simple, very clear. That's just like a real professional title. This is one suggestion. Second is there's a confusion for the license exam, the qualification, who is qualified to take the license exam in California. In most of the schools, we have a master's program. The students supposed to be graduate and to take the exam. That's mostly most of the students do. But in California, laws and regulations, so long as you meet the requirement for the hours of the education, then you can take the license exam. Then that's different with different curriculum
30
in different
seconds.
schools. You meet the requirement of acupuncture board requirement, but you haven't get a master's degree. So this get a confusion for the schools. Like before they graduate, then that means all of the students before they graduate, they can apply for the license exam. So this is a confusion. It's better to be unified.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, moderator. Before we move on, just a gentle reminder to the public. The item before you right now is the board's motion to approve the sunset report as drafted with the edits. And it's not clear to me that these comments are directly related to that motion. If you have comments that are not directly related to that motion, you will have an opportunity later in the agenda to make those comments. So thank you, moderator.
Thank you. Also, guests are welcome to put themselves back in the queue if they have not had enough time to speak. Moving on to Billy Joe Rodriguez. Bear with us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Thank you very much. And after I just heard the clarification, I'll wait for item 7 to make my comments.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And those are all the requests we have for comment at the moment.
Thank you. Why don't we go to a vote?
Board members, the motion on the table is to approve the sunset report with the edits provided by staff for section 1.4.10.12. When you hear your name, please say aye if you agree. Harabidian?
Aye.
Osorio? Osorio, we did not hear a response.
I'm sorry,
Come
I'm
back
having
to
a
you.
hard time
Oh,
hearing you.
there we go. The motion on the table is to approve the sunset report with the edits provided by staff. What is your vote? You're muted, Mr. Osorio.
Yes, I do approve it.
Thank you. Member Mateki?
Yes.
Chen?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And Lee?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much, board members. This is a very long report. It feels good to get it done. We'll go ahead and make the edits you have provided and get that submitted to the legislature. Mr. President, we are ready to move on to item number 7, public comments for items not on the agenda.
Yes, before we do, just well done, Ben, and all the staff on the report again. I think it was just really excellent all around and took a long time, I know, and we appreciate all your help and all your work on it. So just I wanted to take a moment to pause and just say thank you for everything you did on it.
Thank you very much. It's very wonderful to hear that, and we're all very excited to have this done as well.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Public comments for items not on the agenda. Let's open this up for public comment. I think we did, to the legal counsel, Mr. Maycroft's point. I think we heard a few comments that probably were better characterized here, but let's open it up for the public to make any comments for items that were not on the formal agenda today.
Very well. This is the moderator. As a reminder, you will be given 2 minutes to speak and a 30-minute warning. If you need more time than that, you are welcome to get back into the queue after everyone else has had an opportunity to speak. And first on the list at the moment is Billy Joe Rodriguez. Then I see David and Philip Yang.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm just getting rid of a spam call that's coming on my phone. So sorry. Yes, and good morning, and thank you for allowing me to speak to your board this morning on this lovely rainy California day. So I think California is smiling. As a consumer and a patient of acupuncture, I am pleased that California is living up to its high standards of healthcare, including acupuncture, and I would hope this would continue and not be diluted by reducing medical acupuncture qualifications, which I think, if done, would affect patient care, my family's patient care. And when I look for a medical professional, I review that professional's qualifications, educations, as well as as even reviews online and word of mouth. And I want to put my life in the hands of someone who's well educated and experienced in their respective field. In particular, I think that acupuncture has evolved to be a more accepted and respected healthcare option, and I'd like to see it stay in high regard. I look for an acupuncturist who has a doctoral degree, just as I would if I needed another health professional. And I don't want someone who just attains a bachelor's degree or has a few hundred clinical hours. And quite frankly, as an acupuncturist, you're dealing with my life and my loved ones' lives. And I would hope that California would continue to set the bar high, which would make me feel more confident in that my acupuncturist healthcare provider has a doctoral degree. Again, thank you so much for giving me time to be able to state
30
my case.
seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have David. Bear with us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, this is David Lee. I'm a president at Alhambra Medical University. I know that lots of these related items have been discussed peripherally around doctoral degrees, even the use of the term Oriental. For the board to clearly understand the scale of the problem, that there are approximately 10,000 masters of Oriental medicine in licensed practice in California. We're never going to get rid of the term Oriental unless we have a path forward for the 10,000 master's degrees. The graduate degree is the most common publicly recognized identity for the profession. It is not the licensing title of physician or chiropractor. It is often the MD or DC, the professional graduate degree that identifies the profession. With accreditation, we currently have a graduate medical degree that is 21 syllables. Doctor of Acupuncture with a Chinese herbal medicine specialization, and Masters of Acupuncture with a Chinese herbal medicine specialization. These are not functional, practical, professional degrees. No one has 21 syllables that take up 2 lines in their graduate degrees. There's also been consistent patterns with accreditation to only offer doctorates in English. Accreditation currently has removed the 45 TOEFL score that allowed Koreans and
30
Chinese to
seconds.
enter programs. I believe this has to be urgently looked at by legal counsel. Accredited schools receive federal financial aid. We are restricting and discriminating against people based on national origins and on limited English proficiency. These are federal violations that Acupuncture Board must look at. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Philip Yang. Bear with us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Thank you. First, I have a question. I just talk about the one item that's in the previous item. Do I need to repeat or have to repeat?
This meeting is being recorded. You don't need to repeat if it's not necessary.
Okay, thank you so much. The second, I want to one purpose is right now all the acupuncture professions is being limited in the insurance claims, like the insurance companies are limiting our the CPT codes. Before allowed 4, right now 2. Otherwise, they don't pay for anything. So really, our benefit is being limited. If there's any way, either legal or any way to improve the situation, otherwise, acupuncturists will have no any benefit to survive. Another thing I want to mention is just now I heard different voices like talking about the qualification for the education. I think this is really necessary. As an educator, we do pay attention to these problems. Like we basically we require the graduate, the master's program, and we hope we can raise to doctor's program for the acupuncture profession. And then there's another traditional tutoring program that come out the confusion and in the market and the student enrollment and also the professional different levels. Like the usually tutoring program, they may not
30 seconds.
graduate from high school, even elementary school, but so long as they take the program, they can take the license exam and get licensed. So as a profession, we're the same, but the level is different, including communication skills, anything that's different. So I think I need to review this tutoring program, the qualification. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Ron Zeidman. Bear with us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hello, this is Ron Zeidman, president of Five Branches University. I believe I would recommend you put as an agenda item the review of the tutorial program. This will benefit, as was just given as a comment, the equity between the tutorial program and the practitioners who graduate from accredited universities. And the two areas we have to pay special attention to in this review are the education requirements and the English requirements. So as far as education requirements, all graduates from educational institutes, accredited educational institutes, must have 2 years of experience of undergraduate studies. In the tutorial standards, they can be high school students, which I believe only massage programs allow. And the second is the tutorial students do not necessarily need to know how to speak English. So I believe this is a risk for the acupuncture board to allow high school students who don't
30
speak
seconds.
English to join the profession. And certainly as professionals, we are concerned as we move forward to hospital care and so forth to have licensed acupuncturists who only have 2 years, have no years of undergraduate studies and don't necessarily have to speak English. So I hope you'll put this on your agenda item in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And those are all the requests we have for public comment at the moment.
Thank you.
Moderator.
For some of these, I wasn't quite following Mr. Zeidman by the end. I'm not, maybe staff knows that issue a little bit better than I do on the tutorial front, but just a question to staff. I guess to the general public, if you made a comment about future agenda items that you think should be on, please email staff specifically what you're looking for so that we have time to kind of think about that as a board and as staff. And secondly, a couple of these comments have to do with educational, almost all of them, educational aspects, whether it's the title of the degree, how the education is being delivered, what is being required. It's always a constant struggle since I've been on the board of knowing where the board has authority when it comes to those matters and whether that authority is either with the executive, the legislature, or AECOM with kind of the national educational standards. So Ben, I don't know if you can just kind of, again, remind me, like, where do we as a board even have the authority to address some of the things that we just heard?
Yeah, at a general level, a number of these items should be set by the industry itself. The board shouldn't play a role in naming the profession that it's trying to regulate. The profession is established and it's requiring regulation because it's a service to the public. So it'd be kind of challenging for the board to push itself into this is how your profession should name yourselves when we're just trying to make sure that there is public protection here. I can understand perhaps some of the organization that may come from that, but ultimately that should be on the profession. In terms of the tutorial program, it is an alternative pathway to qualifying for the exam, for sitting for examination. A number of the comments received today was regarding the variance, as you noted, Mr. President, in the national accreditators allowance for the education itself to be housed in a number of different programs. It's why the board goes with a curriculum as opposed to specifically a degree, because there is such variance at a national level, and we do have national programs that prepare students to sit for the exam that are outside of California. And so even with that, it's best that it's established by the profession. In regards to the tutorial, a review of the tutorial program, that is definitely possible for the board to do. Now that the Sunset Report is being finalized, staff will be turning their attention to providing the report on the stakeholder survey on curriculum. Once that information is presented to the board, then we can take a look at how to do a similar survey of the tutorial program to see what differences, if any, are captured within the two various approaches to qualifying for the exam. So that definitely can be looked at later by the board in terms of what do we require for the tutorial program, what do we require for our training programs, and what are we suggesting we require for our training programs. Once we've identified that, we can then look at what do we suggest for the tutorial program as well. And then in terms of the degree titles that was also discussed, that, yeah, it's back to that. It's the profession that should establish that. And there's just a lot of variance. And on a national level, the profession is starting to organize, but we'll see what that brings in terms of naming conventions.
This is a member.
I'm not sure if I answered your questions.
You did. Thank you. That was very helpful. Good. Dr. Mateki, was that you?
Yes, President. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Budia, for the clarification. And I echo the President Harabindian's also. Yeah, it is a struggling for the members, for the board, to keep hearing the similar questions. And I know, Mr. Budia, you brought about the national levels discussions, and also I hear from the public, California, it is very unique, especially we have over 11,000 licensees. Public look at California being the high standard, protect the public of education, various level licensees requirement. And I know in the August meeting minutes, we did discuss about the tutorial put on the future agenda regarding tutorial curriculum requirement. It is true the level, of the acupuncturists in the future into this profession. We see that in the hospital a lot, which is this is where Medicare is already covered for the acupuncture treatment. And you will see more and more acupuncturists that started working in the hospital environment and to communicate with the other multidisciplinary teams. So if this is going to be the future strategic plan, work with the stakeholders, surveys always great. I really would like to see, we will, California will continue being the highest standard requirements and also protect the public. As a practitioner myself, in the both world, I do see the communication, the trust, for patient side. One is a physician, they want to look for someone highly trained, the others, the education, and from the patient side is the same. So I just wanted to echo what we have done and how we can do in the future strategic plan, or how we can help work with the stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. That was very helpful.
Mr. President, we have Mr. Hurt with a comment.
Please go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to bring back the memory that a number of board meetings before we had brought at the committee level a request for the TOEFL requirements into the tutorial program, and actually for foreign applicants as well, because as those aren't covered by the accreditor, there hasn't been a TOEFL requirement there. And one of the ideas was to seek alignment, between all those programs. At that point, the accreditor had a very high standard, and since then that has been resolved. So it seems like the resistance over the TOEFL has changed, and so it might be a really good time to look at that. But I just wanted to emphasize the board has seen that as a need for a long period of time to have some level of English competency, both with foreign applicants and for tutorial students. So, and then also an interest to find alignment as much as it makes sense, unless it has to do with, more extensive scope of practice or laws and regulations in California. Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Joe. Any other comments from board members before moving on to future agenda items?
Yeah, this is Member Kim. I'd like to ask Mr. Jay Hurd, to look maybe if we put the tutorial program or other degree matter as a next agenda. Maybe you can provide us in the next meeting on the data on tutorial more in detail, like say how many of those tutorial trainees are holding college degree or more or less, and then I've been seeing those problems with the degree. I've been looking at those classified as where they're looking for acupuncturist. Most of them, they want the acupuncturist went through the accredited schools, but also they want to have them at least a bachelor degree or other area of study in science. So that means sometimes some of the hospitals, they're looking for acupuncturists who had a background in the college level, as in like natural science or medical science. So I think that's the cause of what is all this confusion, because like the martial arts, they can call whatever they want to call, but we need to align with the current medical profession curriculum, like especially on the base science and other lab required courses. So maybe if we put the degree or the tutorial agenda next meeting, maybe we can have a more detailed look into the tutorial program and other requirements for curriculum review for our California standard. Thank you.
This is Member Yongping Chen. I agree on the above my colleagues' comments, and I heard from the stakeholders, including patients. California has been the leading state to keep the qualification of in the medical field, including acupuncture. We have the biggest number of practitioners of acupuncturists, and meanwhile, we have different standard qualification. So will it be possible to get closer? Yeah, so I agree to review all the program for tutorial and do some comparison to check the competency between all these different program graduates, the licensees. And I heard David Lee said the graduation degrees identify the professionals, the professions. So therefore, the degree requirement probably possible in the consideration for the future licensee. Right now, I think the consumer probably will be some consumer confused. My experience, they always ask, look at your website or some information in Yelp, Google to see what's your education background. So I heard a lot of, I have 10,000 patients, and they ask, what's your background of education degree? So I hope that in the strategic plan, the next phase will consider this part to make consumers more clear in their mind. So they have put the basic trust. Okay, acupuncturists, they have certain degree, certain competence of English. I think it's necessary to make consumer have confidence to this profession, have more confidence. And also I talked to UCLA. I know they are proposed to have a program to invite acupuncture school students to do the training in the hospital. So in the Western medicine system. And I asked her, what's the qualification you are looking for those students or newly graduated acupuncturist? They said, number one, they will require their background with biology training. So we see a lot more hospitals and medical groups, they actually welcome acupuncture to be in their system. Myself, I just was accepted as a contract acupuncture provider for a group, medical group, which has 700 MDs. And I believe I'm the first acupuncture to be there, but their requirement is very, very high. So you need to have training experience in the hospital. So I saw the 2018 Sunset Review mentioned acupuncture medical terminology implement. So it is uncompleted. So I hope that will be in the future strategic plan as well. Thank you.
Mr. President, might I recommend that we close this item since we're no longer taking public comments, and we can continue hearing board member comments for future agenda items and open it back up for item 8.
Okay. This is the moderator. Philip Yang has just asked for additional comment. Would you be willing to grant him that?
Why don't we just, I think that his, I'm going to allow it, but let's just go to the next item and I'll allow public comment during that item. And I think it'll qualify under that for future agenda items. So he can hear us. He'll just wait. We'll open this up for public comment, and I have a feeling that it'll be just as applicable for this. So, so while we wait for that, Dr. Mateki and I think Dr. Chen and then Francisco, I think there's a few different things that folks have interest of putting future agenda items on. Dr. Mateki, do you want to start?
Thank you, Mr. President. So here I would say review the requirement for the tutorial schools or tutorial students. And number two is regarding all the names, the doctor's titles, and what is it represent, because this is a kind of confusion for the public and for professions like physician in the hospital, very confused. There's everyone called doctor, but there's different years training. And I think I will just say the first two tutorial and the name of the titles, maybe in the future, how we can work with all the stakeholders on those, either surveys or in a strategic plan. So I will leave it. Thank you for asking, Mr. President.
And if I may step in here just to kind of advise the board on what the first at least half of the year is going to look like next year. Staff can, as I mentioned earlier, now turn to reviewing the stakeholder survey information to provide the documentation received to the board and analysis on curriculum as is provided in training programs and suggestions for improvements or changes, which would allow us to then look further into a number of the items brought up by board members, such as the titles and the tutorial program. What we'll be seeing here is the sunset hearing is going to be held tentatively in March, at which point, just before the sunset hearing is conducted, the committees, the joint business and professions committees, release a background paper. I believe it was section 11 that we reviewed, or 10, which has a number of questions for the board to consider. And the board is responsible to address all those questions at the hearing, plus whatever other questions they may have, the committees may have for the board. At which point, the board then has to attend the hearing, answer their questions. If we don't know, we come back and we research the questions, the answers to the questions that they've provided, as well as draft responses to all of their questions in the background paper. The board would then have to meet again. It has 30 days to submit the responses to the background paper. Before those 30 days are up, the board has to meet and review the responses and approve them again, just like we did for the sunset report, and then move forward with it, that response. And then we should be able to, at that meeting, review the information for the previous stakeholder meeting, but we just want to be careful how much work we're going to be seeking to do in the next few months while we're in the sunset review phase. Now, once we get to past that, we were going to move into strategic planning, which would allow us to really identify a number of these issues that have been coming up that board members have addressed and the public has shared as well, and include those on the strategic plan to have a more diligent effort made towards that. That pretty much summarizes the expectations for the work, at least in terms of sunset, before we can start resuming some of the other big action items. Thank you.
Okay, so would you recommend then on Dr. Mateki's items, how would you like to proceed with that in terms of placing that on a future agenda, like 6 months from now, or just?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely, these are all great items for future discussion of future agenda items. Just I don't want board members to be upset when we are not going to be able to devote our time to preparing. You know, Dr. Kim requested that we have information on the tutorial program as it currently stands. Just that a little patience as we move through sunset and we address those priorities, and then we can turn our attention back to this. Member Mateki did note that she's comfortable with addressing her 2 points, her 2 major points in this strategic plan itself. And I feel that we can address a number of these, and it would have to be addressed in the strategic plan. These aren't like we had discussion on degree titles, the differences between the tutorials. We can't do this within the next month, but we can put it on the strategic plan. And we can start looking at these in the next few months once we're done with sunset. It's not that we can't, I just want members to be aware. We've got a couple of things to knock out first before we can start moving back to our policy matters.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Okay, Dr. Chen, and I think Francisco, you also had some items.
This is Member Yongping Chen. As Ben and the EO Ben and the President Halabidian already clarified those questions, we are going to move to strategic plan. So I just mentioned that I want to review of the tutorial program. The program should include the education curriculum should improve biology because acupuncture is practicing in the modern time, and the patient is today society's patient. They have all the doctors visit already usually before they come to acupuncture. So we really need to do the Western medicine, bedside terminology, and their treatment, understand their treatment. Then we see how we can be assistant or treat the patient. So just want to make sure the review includes the biology education background for those tutorial program. So that's my concern to this, but again, probably not in the next meeting agenda. Probably will go to the strategic plan. Thank you.
We can definitely include tutorial review and focus on reviewing the Western science requirements in the strategic plan. Thank you, Dr. Chen.
Francisco, did you have some items that you wanted to talk about?
I just, yeah, Dr. Chan just mentioned that I was wanting to say, so it's okay, but yeah, we can wait until the sunset review is finished.
Great. Okay, well, why don't we open this up for public comment unless any other board members have any other comments?
This is the moderator. We are now open for public comment on agenda item 8, future agenda items, and we are also going to take Philip Yang's request for comment from agenda item 7. Bear with us, Mr. Yang. As a reminder, you'll be given 2 minutes with a 30-second warning, and after that, if you need additional time, you'll have to wait till everyone else is finished. Bear with us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Thank you, Philip Yang from California University, Silicon Valley. Thank you for all the board members for your futures agenda item. Yeah, that's really the concerns of our consumer stakeholders. And I really hope I know at least two of the items has been selected for the future item. And another one is hope you can review the licensing qualifications to be, to clear just meet for the hours or have to get like the master's degree as the basic requirement. And also for the acupuncturist, the trainings, we have the degrees program, and also for higher level requirement, like in the future we reach the doctor's degree, so that we are qualified to have the doctor's title, and also to improve our professional levels, including the didactic trainings and also clinical trainings. So for even higher level, like Dr. Yunping Chen just mentioned, to be elected in the hospital as a practitioner in acupuncture, it's
30
better have,
seconds.
yeah, it's better have another program to get enhanced training, like a residence, just like a Western medicine. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have David. Bear with us just a moment. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hello, all. I'll be brief. I feel at times that there's a collapse of the ideas around English proficiency and competence. I want us all to recognize that the primary expertise in this medicine is in the Korean and Chinese language. Folks studying in English are studying in translation or studying interpretation. The faculty that build this profession, that drive this profession, that have the most advanced expertise, got that training in Korea and China most often. The notion that English is related to competence is not correct. The primary competence in this medicine is in Chinese and English. A third of the graduates, a third of the folks coming into the exams, take the exam in Korean and Chinese. I think it has to be a priority to make sure that the strength and quality of our profession recognizes Korean and Chinese practitioners that are able to study in the primary language of this medicine. Thank you.
Thank you. And at the moment, there are no other requests for public comment.
Thank you. And Ben and Jay, just on that point that we've heard from David a few times, I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, I definitely hear what he's saying. So, what exactly do you guys recommend for us to consider this? Because I do think that we do not, on the one hand, we obviously want to protect the public in every measurable way possible, but it does seem like, and I don't know the landscape of the education presently in terms of our folks being excluded because of English language requirements. But what exactly do you guys recommend, Ben, Jay, both of you, in terms of teeing this up for us just to make sure that the board is adequately informed about it and make sure we know exactly what the landscape is if we need to address something here?
Yeah, I think in regards to this particular point, the board needs to carefully weigh the role of protecting the public, and that the TOEFL requirement is for the practitioner to be able to speak to the general public. That is not to say that there are competencies that would be benefited by knowing Korean and Chinese, so simply that the public tends to speak English and medicine is delivered generally in English. That's the language expected generally. That is not to say it can't be delivered in other languages and that practitioners can't be great delivering it in other languages. This is definitely an item that was on our strategic plan and looking for alignment with domestic programs, as Jay mentioned in an earlier comment, for both the tutorial and foreign applicant qualification route for the exam. Again, the requirement there isn't so that they can prove that they can speak Korean or Chinese, it's that they can prove that they can speak to the general public in California. Not that, again, knowing those other languages wouldn't be helpful. But this is I would recommend that this definitely be put back on the strategic plan. The board can take a look at what other healing arts professions do, what their minimum requirements for TOEFL practice is, for those practitioners to be able to treat the general public. And If we're looking for equivalency with the other healing arts, we can approach that route. If we're looking for greater clarification to what our stakeholders, such as David, is providing, then we can look at what is a reasonable request for a TOEFL score for those practitioners. And currently, those qualifying for the training program or qualifying for sitting for examination via the training program route can take the exam, as noted by David, in both Korean and Chinese. So it's not so much that we're requiring it, it's ACOM's requirement at this point, since we don't have the requirement in the other two pathways. Definitely a future discussion item and a strategic plan item. Jay, anything to add?
Yeah, I'd like to chime in. I mean, I totally agree with Ben saying, and also I think Mr. Lee makes a really, really good point, is that we don't want to set that so high that we limit sort of an educational opportunity. But the real key issue is at licensing, these practitioners are going to be interacting with English speaking people, and so just to have that safety be there and the ability to communicate, but also in terms of those who are teaching, they're not going to have to provide that. They would have had to maybe do that as part of their licensing, but it's not going to prevent people with origins of education in China or Korea from being able to teach. So, but I just really emphasize there is a need to balance with that, and also right now the domestic students are all required to do that, which is the higher percentage of our exam applicants along that line. So it does make sense to have an alignment between the three programs, at least at that level for public protection. And so that's all I have to add.
This is the moderator. David has requested additional time to speak. Would you be willing to open it up for him again?
And moderator, if I might just jump in here, this is legal. It's just a general reminder to the board and the public. We're focusing on whether or not we want to add future agenda items. So this is very good discussion, but want to keep that focus in mind, that the goal here is to decide, do we want to put an item on a future agenda where we can have a more full discussion of it.
Yeah, thank you both. I think we heard from David, and I assume he'll try to clarify something. I don't think it's necessary to open it back up right now. Again, I always encourage folks from the public. Our staff can be emailed, and usually email communication is very clear. We did hear the first comment, which made sense. We've discussed it more, and we will decide on whether this is something we bring to a future agenda item. That doesn't have to be decided now, obviously, but so right now, no. The answer is we're not going to open up public comment again. So, any other comments from board members? Sorry, Mr. Marcroft, did you want to say something?
No, nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other board members want to make any comment before we close this?
This is Member Kim. I'd like to make a suggestion for future item agenda item for called the Dao needle, which Dao means a knife. So the needle is not just sharp pointed. It's a rather flat, has an edge on it. I think it's very getting popular in Korea and China, and it's even spreading in the U.S. So I think we want to take a look into it and see maybe if any standard or any definition that we want to set for to protect the public.
So noted. I've also included TOEFL requirements as a future agenda item discussion.
Okay, I think that's it. I think for this agenda item.
Excellent. That brings us to agenda item number 9, and just to let the board and the president know, there wasn't enough time to facilitate the reviews, so we're going to request that this be tabled to the next board meeting where we would have enough time for the board to address this item. Would the president be willing to entertain that? Tabling?
Yes, that sounds good.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And that just brings us to item 10, adjournment.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Good meeting. We will have a happy new year, and we'll see everyone soon. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, staff.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, staff.
Thank you, and
Thank you, everyone.
talk to you guys later.
Thank
Have
you,
a good day.
everyone.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Mhm.